looking at me. You either get a vision or you get with the network, nigga. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your boy Javi L. Wilson. I want to welcome you to another episode of The Ceremony, which is the mecca of celebration. You know what I'm saying? And today, we got a special one. This is my brother right here. He's a visionary leader. He's a cultural curator and an international businessman who's been making major waves in corporate America and beyond. He got his start at Clark Atlanta University, where I'm going to school at right now. And where he didn't just attend, but he also led. Mr. Breaking the Cycle, Mr. Junior, and ultimately the second, Mr. Clark Atlanta University. He didn't stop there. After graduating in 2021, he took his talents to IBM, where he's been at the forefront of global business transformation. He's a force in music, fashion, and lifestyle, using his platforms to shape culture in ways that most people can only dream of. And I just need y'all to help me welcome my brother the best way here at the ceremony, Darius.
What's up, bro?
What's up, man? You know what I'm saying? That was good. I think that was everything.
That was everything.
That was good. So yeah, first of all, I just want to say thank you for just being on the platform, man. You my brother. We done talked about this for so long, and we've been talking about we're gonna get together, we're gonna do the interview, and now it's finally time for us to
If anything, I'm proud of you, bro. Yeah. Watching you do all this, it's inspiring.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You inspire me. Folks don't know when you was Mr. CU, I was on your court. I was when he was Mr. Junior, I was Mr. Freshman.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was like, because I was a freshman, I wasn't getting up early, I wasn't being punctual and all these things. And Darius used to literally like wake up and come to my door at Beckwith. If you know what Beckwith is, Beck Mansion, I like to call it, because we don't call it Beck Sinead. But Darius used to pull up to Beckwith, he used to bang on my door, and used to be like, bro, you like, get up. He used
banging on them walls.
And he used to wait on me to get up, put my clothes on, get dressed, and used to like always just make sure I was punctual and on top of my thing, bro. So you've been inspiring me since I came in as a freshman.
And that's the job, bro.
Yeah,
that's the job.
Yeah. So look, we just gonna go into it. You grew up in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Grew up in LA. Now, a lot of folks don't know, you know what I'm saying, about LA life. But growing up in Los Angeles, what values and experiences shaped your approach to leadership and service?
LA is like any other big city. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes you feel like anything is possible, because you always see that downtown light type thing. And at least for me, it was always like that. Just seeing that, being amongst stars and stuff like that. I was never the type to be starstruck, but it was one of those things of like, that's possible. Yeah. So that's, if they could do it.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it. So I just went into the approach of everything, at least when I came to college, of like, man, I could do anything. Yeah. And kind of just carried on throughout that in life. And I mean, I'll just say that's just faith, bro. Yeah. Because it's a lot of stuff I didn't even work for, in my opinion, but ended up lining up. I knew it was possible, but just certain things you feel like maybe I could have put in more work to feel like I earned it a little bit. But everything that's came, bro.
But that's how life is when you cover it, though. Like you
that's
tell me that when God got you, it's like sometimes He'll just give it to you.
And no, that's real. I was about to say, that's why I just tell people, bro, it's really just faith and just knowing, like, people ask me, like, to the same point, like, well, what is it next, or how did you do this and that? And I'm like, bro, you don't even know. Like 10 minutes before, or an hour before, I was panicking, thinking it wasn't even going to go through. And then you really just gotta jump off the ledge and see if your wings spread type thing.
So would you say there was a defining moment in your early life that made you realize that you was like meant for leadership and not meant for like the traditional path? When we all like, the stereotype of us when we want to grow up, we want to be basketball players and be fighters and all this other stuff, firefighter. You know what I'm saying? But I've watched you take on a huge role in just leadership, and not just in like roles, but like also in just your manhood and your integrity. Right. So is there like a pivotal role in your life that like shaped that?
I feel like there's certain ones for certain ages, but my favorite one, I would say my favorite one was, I tell people when I first accepted my letter for Clark, like I had never been to Atlanta before, like ever in my life. But I knew like I wanted to be on the East Coast on that shoreline because I had already lived on the West Coast. I already lived like in the South in Texas, and I was like, I want to go somewhere else, type thing. It was just watching two young men, the SJ president and VP speak, and it was just kind of like my soul telling me like, yeah, that's you. Yeah. Like, and I just kind of saw myself be up there, and then from there, bro, I don't know. Yeah. It was just like
it just kind of just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just anything I went after, it was just like, all right, cool. Yeah. You could get that. Yeah. You could have that. Yeah. You could have that. And it's just continuing to unfold. It's sometimes it's scary. Yeah. But it's a good scary though.
So you talk about your time at Clark Atlanta University, and like I said before, you led. You didn't just attend the university, but you also led. You was Mr. Breaking the Cycle. Yeah. You was Mr. Junior, and ended up being the second, not the first, but the second. Yeah. That's part of the pivotal years. Right. The second Mr. Clark Atlanta University. So like, talk about what challenges did you face while serving in all these different positions, especially like Mr. Clark Atlanta University with it being so new and so fresh, and then talk about like how did those moments prepare you for the leader that you are today?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I faced was kind of like energy distribution, put it that way. Okay. So like everybody tells you to be selfless, serve people, do all that, and I think I did that to my highest capability, you know what I'm saying, but I wasn't giving enough to myself, and I wasn't giving enough to the people I love, for real, at the time, because I was like, this is the work, I gotta do the work, like, and this will come with the work, so I have to sacrifice more or less the love I give y'all to give everybody else the love, and I'm not saying I wish I did it backwards, but I wish I just would have distributed it better, put it that way. That along with just regular life, grief, you know what I'm saying? You know what that's like? Yeah. And having to just push on forward in the midst of COVID and in the midst of having people come to you with questions. All these questions. And you don't even got the answer, but I gotta keep a bold face. I gotta have my chest out and my chin up, because that's just how I was raised, and walk through it and just be like, all right, cool. I think it was a quote I heard recently that's like, sometimes you don't necessarily choose to be a leader. It's just upon you, but like you can't run away from that. It's not like pressure is not bad. Pressure is a privilege, but like being a leader just means you go first. I just got to go first. If I for how I looked at it, it was like if I get to go first and it's 4 other dudes that get to come behind me, if I bared all the pain or if I bared all the real hard work all the stuff that you don't really got to think about, I'll do that. Because that's easy at the end of the day. I don't want to have to think about 4 or 5 different opinions and what's the best option and a medium. Bro, I'm just going to take charge. Let's just do it this way. If you feel like we should have did it a different way, let's move on to the next side, next time, and do that. And I'll take a step back. Let you lead next time, type thing. So it's about giving and teaching.
And that takes a lot of like humility, like, you know what I'm saying, like being able to be humble and even be able to like say that, like, I even let you lead, like, you know what I'm saying. It takes a leader to even be able to allow somebody else to lead or even be able to follow. You know what I'm saying? So like,
well, I think I also like that approach because I know how hard I work. Okay. So how I look at it is, if you're gonna tell me you're gonna work harder than me, show me. And that's just gonna make me work harder. So if you've never worked on this level, I'm gonna take you through there. And not even like, not intentionally, but like that's just how I am.
But where did that come from though? Like that like, you just think it just was in you, or like was there an influence? Like,
I mean, I think there's influences all around. I think one of the main ones that you always talk about is like when I watch Kobe highlights and stuff like that.
I gotta listen, man. We used to be. I was Mr. Sophomore. He was Mr. CAU. Our call time used to be like 7 a.m., 7:30. He'll tell us to get there 30 minutes before our call time, and he's there 30 minutes before our call time. They're like just sitting just like this in the lobby, sitting there drinking the coffee or eating the pastry, like watching Kobe highlights. And I used to walk up every morning like, bro, like, do he think he about to like checking the game? Like,
no, it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
It's how I look at it is like, it's like work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
But if I practice as hard as I can, if I go as hard as I can in practice, and I mean, I'm my biggest critic, so I go, I'm taking it, I'm pushing myself all the way there. Or surrounding myself with people that's gonna push me to that point. The game is gonna feel easy.
Yeah.
So everything else, I think to your point, like everything else in life, when it's time to go out there and stand on the stage, it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
It may feel hard. I may be going through a hard day, or I may be going through something in life, emotionally, whatever. But it's easy to go up there because I've already prepped for this moment.
Yeah.
I prepped for this moment. I prepped for these questions. I've relaxed myself. I know how I want to present myself and how I want to represent whatever organization I'm with, representing and just me as a whole. So. Yeah, like I said, when it's game time, it's easy.
Yeah, so, just ready to go.
Like I said, influences just come from my village, bro.
Yeah.
You know, family. You know, watching the good and bad tendencies. Yeah. And saying, all right, cool, this is what I want to do. This is what I don't want to do. I think if anything, that's what put me on track to go to college and come out here, live alone, travel the world, stuff like that. Like my parents never did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like my grandparents never did that. So to do it on this level, how I look at it, and I know people probably like, man, he don't know time is ticking, but still I'm like, this is just the beginning, bro. Yeah. Like this is just the beginning. Yeah. That's how I look at it. So I'm excited. Like how it's all gonna trickle.
That's dope, bro. It's dope. So college can be a space of like transformation, you know what I'm saying? Like, but also like self-doubt and all these things that you like just go through within your college matriculation. And like you talk about like how poised you was and stuff like that throughout the entire time that you like all these people was depending on you. I know you had your moment, I know. But you be like the outside people, like the regular person to the regular eye, they wouldn't see that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So did you feel like did you ever feel like you weren't living up to the expectations? And when you felt like you wasn't, like when you in your room by yourself and after you led and then talked to all the people and all these people and see you and they don't see the side of you, like when you in your room by yourself, was there ever any moments where you felt like you weren't living up to the expectations, and how did you push past that?
All the time. Every day. There wasn't a day that I didn't feel like I wasn't doing enough.
Yeah.
The people around me would tell you otherwise. Yeah. Darius did a lot. Darius probably did a little too much at times, but like I never felt like I was doing enough. If anything, for everything in my life, that's my motivating factor. Sometimes I gotta wheel it back in to be grateful for the things that I have and the things that I've done. But, bro, with everything I've done, I don't even recognize it. Yeah. Because I'm like, there's so much more I want to do. That's not enough. Yeah. That's not enough. Yeah. Everything I've done so far, like, even to me, it's cool, but it's not enough. It's just not enough for me, like, in terms of where I want to be when it's all said and done. I think that's what it really is. I look at the real big picture and I'm like, damn. All the time. I could have did this better. I could have did that. But I think at the end of the day, like I said, dialing back in and just realizing like you're a human, bro. Yeah. The same way a child is learning and an old person is learning, I'm learning the same way. Yeah. You know, the same way I make mistakes. I'm not gonna I ain't gonna be the hero in everybody's story. Yeah. So we talked about that. And sometimes that's unintentional. Yeah. Sometimes it's intentional. It's life. You never want to pick that villain role, you know what I'm saying? But that's life. Yeah. Like I said, you're not gonna be the hero in everybody's story. Yeah. That's why, like I said, that's just the name of the game. You know what I'm saying? It's something like I'm teaching my little brother out in LA. It's just like, bro, we're already hard on ourselves enough. Like, take it easy on yourself every once in a while. And that, if anything, that just takes me back to a saying I've been living by lately, which is Imago Dei, and it's image of God.
Okay.
So just saying that we're made in the image of God. Like, don't be down on yourself. God will never be down on himself. You know what I'm saying? If you're made in the image of God, you should never be down on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Take your break, take a rest. You know, get back to one. And then go back out there and do what you got to do. So, if anything, that's how I remain poised. Trust me, I had my breakdowns every day.
I feel that.
But it was just one of those things. It's just saying, like, I got to push through. I use people like my grandmother as a motivation. She was a woman of many degrees. From Southern University, UCLA, San Francisco. Ended up passing her breast cancer way before I was born.
Okay.
But, like, hearing every time I hear about her, or every time her name is brought up, the way people's face lights up, I'm like, that's the type of legacy I want to leave. You know what I'm saying? Years. I mean, she's been gone, bro, like 40 something years at this point. And like, anytime her name is brought up,
it's always,
bro, people's face light up, and they always talk about just how educated she was and all the things that she did. So. Stuff like that. It's like, well, why can't I finish? Why can't I push through? Why can't I? It's somebody that motivated me. Why can't I help motivate somebody? Type thing. So it's been one of those things.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. Yeah, you know you were motivation to me all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you transitioned from CAU into a major corporate role at IBM. You know what I'm saying? First of all, congratulations on that.
Everybody thinks it's like checkers or chess. You just go from graduation and then I go to IBM. People do not know that half of it.
The in-between.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we could get into it.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about the in-between.
Man, wow. I've never even told this story on like camera. I love telling this story though because it's the journey. You gotta fall in love with the process. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you go into your senior year. I think smart people apply for jobs in November, December, because a lot of corporations are looking to hire people right into that summertime. July, August, they know you want to spend a little time with family, and then you relocate to the next spot. I was a little behind. I was just grieving very heavily, and I wasn't focused. But eventually got to it. Started applying to stuff around probably like this time, March, April. I'm hearing back fast because I got a pretty tight resume. So I thought I had a job in finance. Finance is great. I mean, do I want to be in finance? No, not for real, but I don't want to be in corporate in general. So I'm gonna do what I can do to get the money to get where I need to get type thing. That's always been my mindset. So I thought I had a job in finance, bro. Go to the training, and then they like 90 days of work, no pay. So I'm like, man, I got bills.
You just said you need the money, like 90 days.
Like, I got bills. I got an apartment. A little student apartment, but I mean, I got to pay that.
For real.
Type thing. So I need money in my pocket in general. And I never had a job in college outside of internships. So I'm like, man, this is new. How do I do this? So I'm like, do I stick it out? I'm hearing about people having 2 jobs. They're like, I had a night job on top of doing this during the day. And I'm like, I could thug it out, but that ain't me. Unfortunately, like, I don't like finance enough to go 90 days no pay. Like, I don't love it enough. So I'm like, all right, cool, scrapped it. Chilling, and I'm realizing every day I wake up like I'm not no student no more. It's kind of crazy.
Every day is hitting you like, I ain't got class.
Man, like these bills finna come through. The first of the month is not far. My aunt and my godmother, she was working at a rooftop here. And she was like, you could be a bartender. And I was like, all right, cool. I think they had like a license thing, and I was just like, I don't want to go through all that. So she ended up putting me on with valet at the hotel. So a lot of people don't know, I started off with valet at a hotel, my first job out of college.
First job. So it wasn't, see, y'all thought it was just straight from college to IBM. He would work valet before you even got there.
Yeah,
it's the journey.
I about to say I had a few more jobs. So worked valet for a little while. Was coming home at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is how I got to IBM. I just was so obsessed, bro. I remember I would come back home after a night shift, 2 o'clock, or overnight, 6 a.m. And instead of going to sleep, I'm applying to jobs. Like 50 at a time. I'm like 50 piece. Boom, 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 boom. All right, go to sleep, wake up, I got work again, cool. Night shift.
Yeah, you applying again.
Do it again. Yeah. 50. Now, this night, I ain't heard back from the 100, 75 now. Somebody gonna hit me back. Oh God, somebody gonna hit me back. So yeah, no, for real. And you just start talking to friends like, hey, I'm looking into this industry, I'm looking into that industry. So people lobbing you stuff. Somebody had ended up introducing me to consulting. First it was sales. So I started off at Oracle. Well, actually, after valet, I was a bar back and a bartender at Houston's.
Okay.
I had to shave all my.
Nah, Houston ain't no bad spot though.
Nah, and I got some roots in Houston's too. Yeah. So like I come from that. Yeah. But yeah, did that for a little while, and I was just like, I was making very good money. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, this can't be my forever. So ended up transitioning into where I first worked, Oracle. In sales. Okay. My office was based out of like Boston, and then I think they hit us one day and was like, hey, we need y'all to move to Boston. Y'all should start looking for roommates. And I'm like, you gave me a salary. Yeah. Like, and you telling me I need a roommate? You gave me a salary? Like, yeah. So I'm getting paid under market value. Yeah. I can't even fuck with that. Like, unfortunately, I can't, because that means you already set me behind. Like, 10 steps.
Way 20, for real.
So I'm cool on that. So I thought I had another thing lined up. You was in the car with me, actually. I thought I had another thing lined up. And this is at the time where everybody needed a COVID, card and everything. So IBM was like, hey, we need your shots. And I was like, I don't got them. He was like, all right, well, you get your shots and then we can start 2 weeks later, this and that. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm chilling with you. Somebody called me, they're like, yeah, Darius, they lied. You can't start 2 weeks from now. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, when can I start? I was supposed to start in January. It was like, you can't start till June. I had just put in my 2 weeks at my past job. Yeah. So now I'm like 6 months until I can do anything. I don't have nothing. What can I do right now?
Just put in your 2 weeks.
So I'm sick, but I go to the drawing board, you know what I'm saying, and it's rough for a minute, unemployed. Yeah. I'm a go-getter. I come from go-getter, so it's kind of like, what do I do? Do I hustle? Do I try to put my head down and work? I think with the support of my mom, I was able to just put my head down and work. We was able to lean on each other for a little minute. And eventually I got a job at this startup up in Buckhead. And it was in sales. I had just come from sales, so I was putting on, you know what I'm saying? And nobody else is putting on a suit. Nobody else is, shirt and tie, so I'm making sure.
You're the only one.
Yeah, I'm making sure I show up every day.
But keep in mind, this is what you was doing while you was Mr. CAU and all that other stuff. So this is almost the same.
It's transferable skills, you know what I'm saying? It's very easy, but I've always been that guy. Yeah. I've always been a person that put on a tie when nobody else was doing that. I've been doing that since I was like real young. I don't even know why. I've just been fascinated with that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then once the time came, I started with IBM, and it's been an amazing ride so far. So it's been cool. So it took some chess. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, everybody think it's checkers. Like I'm just going from one to the next. It's like, no, I had to. It was strategic, bro, and it was a lot of. It took some L's. Yeah. Some comebacks. So, but it's cool.
So like. Success story, because like that's like a superhero story, like, you know what I'm saying, like you,
but that's what I'm saying, everybody don't realize that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, like, but everybody don't see that, like everybody not, but honestly everybody not supposed to see it, like, you know, everybody not supposed to see it. I feel like I love how the poison is. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things I take from you is like, there's time, like I know you might be going through it, but then when I see you like just outside, like you don't even, it's like a switch, you know what I'm saying? And so talk about how your relationship with God and your spirituality and stuff like that, talk about how that has like helped you throughout this entire time? Because I know that me and you always talk about like God and stuff like that, but talk to people about like how much your spirituality has kept you throughout all these times where you might when they told you that you were supposed to start a job in January and they told you now you gotta wait 6 more months. You know what I'm saying? That has to take some type of extra strength, like, you know, faith. It has to take some type of believing, not in just you, but believing in something else.
No, for real. I mean, and I love talking about God and just how we're made in that image, but regardless of what faith practice you choose, I think you'll be crazy to believe that nobody made all this.
Because you didn't.
Like, it's
I didn't.
Like, and something beyond even what we on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's other planets, galaxies, and stuff way beyond what we could even fathom or see. So to think that something or someone create that, I ain't saying it got to be a figure, but you know what I'm saying? Something of that nature. Sure. I think my parents just put it like this: you practice anything, it's like a muscle. You get stronger. My parents told me at a very, very young age just how to trust and believe in my spirit. So put it like this: my dad just told me at a young age, like, there's a little voice inside of you, and you just gotta listen to it. It's never gonna fail you. It's gonna tell you when to go right when it's right. It's gonna tell you when to go left when it's left. When something don't feel right, you gonna feel it. Type thing. And I've just continued to do that. So like what I tell people now is like everything is spirit led, bro. Everything. So with that poise comes chaos though. You gotta go through so much to get there. But I think, like I said, I think my mother pushed great religious practices first. Going to church, praying, making sure that you give God his time. And then my dad pushed being very strong mentally. Make sure that you're always calm in every situation. Never let nobody take you out your body. If you're gonna let them take you out your body, they more or less they have control over you. If you can let somebody else get you angry to a whole nother, extreme, or sad to a whole nother extreme. I'm not saying don't express your emotions, because trust me, I do. I cry, I get mad, I scream, I do all that.
That's real.
Know what I'm saying?
That's real.
But I don't allow, not unless I'm feeling it to just a severity that I've never been able to control. I've never allowed everyone else to see that. Y'all don't need to see that. There's no need for you to see that. Not unless we share in a moment, you know what I'm saying? But you don't need to see that. I'm gonna be good when we outside. And if it's something wrong, you gonna know. If it's something wrong, I ain't gonna be outside. Put it that way. That's what I mean. That's another way to look at it. But no, my parents just, my family, bro. Everybody just push more or less being strong spiritually. So I don't even want to just say Christianity, because I've looked into other practices as well. I am Christian, but I've looked into other religions to see, well, what is it that they're practicing? What is their mind on? How do they practice in their faith? You know what I'm saying? Are these also things that we can adopt as Christians? I think what a lot of people don't realize is like, it's little stuff like how when they say Jesus went to slip off by himself in the morning, like he's praying, but he's meditating, bro, to just stay calm. And I put it like this: the more I meditate, or the more time I put in with myself, the more time I can give everybody else. So I think, and it sounds so cliche, but putting all that time, effort, work into yourself, the rest of this is easy. Because I'm like, I'm already a lot to manage. By yourself. I'm a lot to manage by myself. So everything else, and then you just start moving smarter. Hire a team. You have people that you put people in place to do the things that they love. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what you see real winners doing. Like, just watch this. I was just talking to a CEO out in LA, and they got something growing, and he was just like, Darius, I go by more or less 8 what did he say? 8 disciplines. I live by 8 disciplines. And he said, I hire 8 people who are greater at me than all those disciplines. And he was like, we just play chess from there.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
And the way he was breaking it down, he like, this person does this because they way better at than me. Yeah, I might have owned more than they ever had, but their expertise is crazy in this field. Or, you know, real estate, I might have owned 100 some houses, but this person know every property in this county that I'm trying to buy, so on and so forth. So it's little stuff like that, bro. Networking and everything else in between. It's a lot, but put it like this: you never gonna have balance. Don't try to find it. Just put all your time, put a lot of time, energy into that relationship, and more or less strengthening your spirit, so you can hear that over the rest of this noise. Yeah. Because this is gonna rumble. It don't matter what city you in, dog, across the world. I've been so many places. And when I'm good spiritually, like, this doesn't bother me at all. The world doesn't bother me. But when I'm not right, everything is stressful. I'm chaotic. I have no balance. I got headaches for no reason. I can't eat right. I can't sleep right. Nothing. But when I put time into God, when I put time into myself, bro, like I said, everything else is so smooth. It's like the easiest life in the world. So yeah, bro.
So I want to talk a little bit about like grief and stuff like that, because, you know, I've dealt with grief. I know that you dealt with grief. So like, talk about that a little bit if you want to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love talking about it.
Like, would love for you to talk about like that pivotal time of grief that you went through in your life, and talk about like what is something that you've taken from, like, you know what I'm saying, your brother that you did grieve, and something that you still keep with you to this day, like, because I know you was there when I grieved my mom, you know what I'm saying, so, and I was there when, like, so I just want to know, I think it would be very transformational and very, like, honorable, you know what I'm saying, even to him, you know what I'm saying, for you to tell the people like something that you took from him, and maybe somebody out there can take from, you know what I'm saying,
Dang, man. I learned so many things in my grieving process because I did everything wrong and everything right. I think the first thing that I did, and I knew off rip, I knew I needed therapy. Off rip. I didn't even question it. I didn't know how it was gonna affect me, but I knew it was gonna affect me. And I was like, I need therapy, dog. I need to be able to talk to somebody, an unbiased opinion, and let's see how that works out. There was no real black man in my life that was doing that, you know, besides people like Dr. Bass. And him and I were in contact during that time. And I mean, I had a lot of great male figures at that time during that grieving process, but I didn't really tell nobody what was really going on internally. And the people who were in that world at that time, man, unfortunately, I was treating them like terrible, just because I was so angry with the world, man. Grief will take you through just an emotional process, bro. And I think that's why my relationship with God is so close now, because during that time, I had this idea that, like, God just wasn't present, and that God just, like, hated me, that God hated my family, like, out of however many people on earth, well, 4 billion, 5 billion, whatever, you know, whatever the number is, like, you gotta take one of mine. And I had never experienced a death that close. Everybody else was older in age, or just older in adulthood. So it unfortunately was kind of expected, you know, once you hit a certain age. It's like you only got so many more days. But I mean, my brother was my age that I am right now, 26. So yeah, I mean, it was very difficult. I seeked help though. I made sure that I had some great people around me. I was not always making the right decisions. I don't even know when I start making the right ones. But at that time, I wasn't, because I didn't fear anything. at that point.
Yeah.
I felt like I was stripped of everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, it ain't nothing out here that can make me feel worse than what I feel. So whoever in a way, unfortunately, you know, a lot of people were the recipient to just my own chaos. And trust me, they know I'm sorry for it, because I plead, even with myself over it. That's something that I'm very hard on myself about, just that time period. I think the biggest thing that I learned is that I'm human, and that time period don't define me.
Yeah.
You know, I did make some mistakes, and I hurt some people. I was hurting myself, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. But like, you could bounce back from that. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things of, like I said, being stripped of everything and just being on ground zero. And being like, it's only one way to go. It's literally only one way to go. My only way is up now. So yeah, it takes, trust me, it took some days, months, weeks. I mean, time. I tell people all the time, like, the grief that I was in, a lot of people didn't even know, bro. I would lay in bed and just look out the window. And then when the sun set, I'll get up. I'll be like, all right, it's time to get up. Days like that. But I feel like you gotta go through stuff like that. You have to go through that kind of like time alone to my point, be stripped, and then realize, like, now God was there all along. It was so much that could have changed my life now. So many decisions that could have altered everything. But I mean, with God's mercy, that's the best way to put it. With God's grace, and just realizing that He's there the whole ride through. It's a difficult ride. I think the best advice that I ever got, and it was very early, was that grief comes in waves, and you just gotta ride it. Don't run from it, type thing. So even now, you know, I have times where I cry now. You know what I'm saying? And it may come out of nowhere. It may just be a random song, or I made, or I made like, it may be something. It may just be a random thought. I may be driving, or it could be anything. And I'll sit there and allow myself to cry, just because it's like, I gotta get that out. You know what I'm saying? And it's not out of now. It's not really out of pain for real now. It's more so like, dang, I wish you could see what I'm doing. I wish we could talk about this real quick. Type thing. And I think to my brother, some of the greatest advice that he gave me, dog, was just, he always just told me to continue to go. You know, he always just told me he was always proud of me. I remember one of our last conversations, and he was just like, he didn't really go to college, and I mean, like, we have roots in the South, but like, he didn't know what HBCU culture was. So to see my junior year kind of condensed in some pictures, he was like, dog, like, you doing it crazy, like, we ain't never seen nothing like this before. And I'm like, man, like, I wish you could come out here and see all this type thing. So you know, I know he up there shining on me. You know what I'm saying, bro? My brother come to me in so many different ways. It's hard to explain. So if anything, very grateful for the time I had with him, and just continuing to live for him. You know what I'm saying? And everybody that's ever attached to him know that they got unlimited love for me.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. And I know he proud of you too, bro.
Oh yeah,
I know he proud.
I'm about to say, I don't even second guess his dog. I don't even second guess his dog.
So this is gonna be my last question. Right? But I usually ask this in another form.
Okay.
But I think I want to ask it like this right now. You know what I'm saying? If today was the last day of your journey, what's the one lesson you want to leave behind?
be long-winded, like, all right. Because it's also, this is something I just learned recently. So, one is your first reaction should never be your first response.
Okay.
So, if you, let's say, even in conversation, you still gotta think out the process of how you're gonna reply. I use that because a lot of people move off emotion and then regret it later. It's like you could have thought out that process. You know what I'm saying? So that, and with that, at least how my process works is to just take a step back and pray first. I'm not saying you gotta get on your knees, oh Lord Almighty, please can you? But like, it could be a simple conversation. I mean, I talk to God regularly. I give God his respect. But I talk to God very regularly. I talk to God like he's my father. I talk to God like he's my homeboy. I talk to God like he's my brother. I talk to, like, it's so many different forms. So doing that first before I make any decision. Doing that before I make any decision, dog, to save me. And I think that would save so many people. If they decided to just be like, let me take a step back. Let me think about the bigger picture, about how the grand scheme of things, instead of just my straight point of view, narrow, nothing else around me. When you look at it like that, along with, I don't want to say what would Jesus do, but just taking a calm approach.
But that's real.
So, and the reason I say that is because, like I said, bro, regardless of what religion you practice, bro, the grace, mercy, that alone. The grace and mercy that we're granted on a daily, that we do not deserve, at all. We could extend that to the people around us and just to ourselves, bro. So work hard, but extend grace and mercy. Trust me, there's gonna be plenty of people that piss you off every day. Are you gonna count every single person every single time?
Every single day? Like,
dog, that takes, put it like this, that puts you in an emotional prison far more than it ever affects them. So you affected by 50 people, and all 50 people are not affected by you. They just, every time they see you, they be like, damn, they mad. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was like 3, but that's mine. That's mine.
No, I asked you one. You gave my 4, 5 on top of just the numbers already. So, but no, bro, I appreciate you, man. This has been wonderful. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like kind of how like we usually be pulling up on me.
I'm about to say, this
like
is what we do.
We probably do this next week. Same time, just without the camera, bro. But I appreciate you for even being a guest on my show, bro. The ceremony is all about talking about the progressions and the downfalls of one life, so we can really highlight the journey other than the destination. And you have a hell of a journey that I couldn't wait for the world to hear, bro. So I appreciate you, bro. I'm proud of you. I'm inspired by you.
I'm proud of you, bro.
I'm motivated by you. Make sure y'all tap in on my boy, because he do a whole lot of stuff. He's a model. You know what I'm saying? We keep talking about this leadership.
We got a lot of stuff coming up, bro. We got a lot of stuff coming up. I got some stuff coming up. I ain't gonna lie.
Anything for them to look out for?
Yeah, dog. I ain't gonna lie. We got, put it like this, we got some back to school stuff.
Okay.
That's city to city right now. So right now we got LA, Houston, New York. Okay. Trying to get Atlanta, Dallas, and Tampa. So doing that in the summertime. Got some big travel coming up. Too, international. Dog, my dad, shout out to my pops. They got something growing in LA right now. Trying to expand. So Stormberger doing big things, and hoping to get in on that too. You know what I'm saying? One way or another, creatively or marketing, something like that. Man, and I'm about to say shout out to my team. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Ray. I would not be doing content if it wasn't for Ray. I'll never not shout out Ray. And Troya. Troy is like, just kind of like my management. But that's like my sister. And the stuff that she got us doing, man, it's gonna be big if we just continue to work and be consistent. So it's all going. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Man, you talking about these trips and this and that. I'm about to ask you what the flight you gonna be on.
Dog,
but no, bro, I appreciate you, man. We celebrate you. And listen, man, tap in with my brother, man. Don't play with him. He do a bunch of any and everything. He know any and everybody. So make sure y'all tap
pull up
in
to 224. We got another one coming up May and June. We got something coming up at Clark soon too.
Okay.
April 17th.
All right.
Come out.
And I ain't even gave y'all dates and location. So I have no
April 17th.
reason but to pull out, man.
I believe it's gonna be the National Urban League and Experian.
Okay.
So they pulling up, and then we're gonna have some. We're gonna have like a little after party vibe.
Okay.
I'll send you the little invite.
You know I'm there.
You know what I'm saying? So
you know I'm there.
You ain't gonna have to work this time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know I got you, bro. No, I got you, bro. I appreciate you, bro.
Of course,
I love you, bro.
I appreciate you,
And make sure y'all tap in, man. Ceremony. Don't get no better.
Thank you, dog.